Track 45. 1. Would you feel nervous about going on holiday alone? 2. Do you enjoy travelling with your family? 3. Are you scared of flying? 4. Have you been away this year? 5. Do you like to try and learn the language of the country you're travelling to? 6. Are there any differences between what young people like to do on holiday and what older people like to do? 7. Did you have a good time on your last holiday? 8. Do you mind roughing it? 9. If you won £1 million, would you spend it on a round-the-world trip? Track 46.
Is your country popular with tourists? What sites and activities would you recommend to a tourist visiting your town or region? Do you enjoy active holidays? Tell me what your ideal holiday would be.
Sample answer.
Is your country popular with tourists?
Oh, yes, it is. It's a key tourist destination. It isn't popular with sun seekers because, well, we don't get a lot of sun. But people who are into culture and history love it. We get millions of visitors every year.
What sites and activities would you recommend to a tourist visiting your town or region?
There are a great number of ancient sites near here. For example, burial mounds and stone circles. They're fascinating and I wouldn't hesitate to recommend them to anyone. Luckily, it's actually better if the weather is misty or dismal when you're visiting those sites, because it just adds to the atmosphere.
Do you enjoy active holidays?
Yes, I certainly do. I hate just sitting on a beach. I love hiking. Last year, I went hiking in Nepal with some friends. It was incredibly tough, but really rewarding, and I got very fit and trim. We want to do something similar next year, if we can save enough money.
Tell me what your ideal holiday would be.
My ideal holidays are when I discover new things. So I wouldn't say I have one ideal holiday in mind. But it's true that I would love to go to South America, especially Peru. I believe it's great for hikers, and the landscape just looks breathtaking. I speak some Spanish too, so I could communicate with the locals.
Track 47. Sample answer.
I'd like to tell you about the time I went backpacking around Spain. I can't quite believe it, but it was over a decade ago now. 2 friends and I got very good value rail passes and travelled around Spain for 3 months. It was an unforgettable experience. We started off in Madrid because that's where we landed. We did some sightseeing. We especially loved the parks, and we ate and drank lots. Our favourite thing was, of course, the delicious ham. We liked the nightlife in Madrid too, not least eating out. It was a real experience. The locals don't go out to dinner until really late, often as late as 11 p.m, I suppose because it's so hot. So if you turn up at a restaurant at what would be a normal time where we come from, the place is either closed or completely empty. We then journeyed on to Santiago de Compostela in the northwest, which was fabulous. And my friend is really into art, so we had to visit the Guggenheim Museum in Bilbao in the north. The weather was dreadful while we were there, so we didn't get the best impression, but even so, we enjoyed it. More people should visit that part of Spain. Then we moved on to Barcelona, Madrid's rival city. We fell in love with it. It's so different to Madrid, more bohemian in feel and more multicultural. The Gaudi architecture is so wonderfully wacky, looking half the time like it's fallen off the page of a fairy tale. We were quite sorry to leave Barcelona. After that, we saw Valencia, but not for long, unfortunately, and then we went on to Granada. What a beautiful, beautiful place. There is nothing quite like the Moorish palace, the Alhambra, lit up at night. The image has stayed with me. We had wanted to visit Seville and the Extremadura region of the country, but we'd run out of money by then, so sadly we had to leave. It was a memorable holiday because I was with two good friends experiencing all these amazing cities. I don't think I could do it now because travelling so much in a relatively short time is tiring. But we were young and carefree and so took it in our stride. It was the holiday of a lifetime.
Why did you choose to go to Spain?
Well, one of my friends spoke Spanish really well, so it seemed the obvious choice. I don't like going to a country without speaking any of the language, and my friend taught us both Spanish as we travelled round the country, so by the end we could order our food ourselves and talk to people, albeit not on any complex subjects.
Track 48. A.
I wanted to go, but I couldn't. I was broke.
B.
Did you say her name was Julie?
No, Julia.
C.
My husband really enjoyed the mini break, but I didn't.
D.
Was your purse on the table when it was stolen?
No, it was under the table.
Track 49. 1.
I gather you're from New Zealand.
2.
Saudi Arabia has an extremely cold climate.
3.
Is the capital of England Tokyo?
4.
Scotland lies to the south of England.
Track 50.
I do think it is unfair that we visit these countries without a thought for what impact tourism has on the local population. I do like travelling abroad, but I also don't mind spending my holidays relaxing at home.
Track 51. A.
Although it's more expensive, many people do go abroad for their holidays.
B.
We nearly decided not to go to South Africa, but in the end we did go.
C.
I do love being able to lie in when I'm on holiday.
Track 52. The benefits of travel.
Do you think it's true that travel broadens the mind? Do young people and older people benefit differently from travelling? How can you make sure you get the most from your travels?
The impact of tourism.
What are the positive impacts of tourism? What about the negative impacts of tourism? How has tourism impacted tourist sites in your country?
Sample answers.
Do you think it's true that travel broadens the mind?
I do, yes. I wouldn't want to disparage people who haven't travelled, because that is almost invariably due to a lack of opportunity. I doubt any of my great-grandparents' generation ever travelled anywhere. But I can't help but think that it does make you a more open-minded person as you see different ways of living, eating, drinking, interacting with others, and it allows you to see your own culture more objectively. It also leads to you having a wider range of experiences and makes you more interesting to talk to.
Do young people and older people benefit differently from travelling?
I think younger people tend to enjoy adventure and having fun, and older people value relaxation more, because they have so many responsibilities at home that what they want more than anything is to switch off when they go away. Of course, that's a generalisation and only takes you so far. I know it's true of me, though.
How can you make sure you get the most from your travels?
I've always thought learning something of the language of the country you're going to is the best possible way of benefiting fully from your holiday. That way, the local population aren't so likely to see you as an outsider, but rather as someone who has made the effort of learning some words and expressions, and so has an interest in their culture.
What are the positive impacts of tourism?
They're manifold. Tourism brings investment and better infrastructure to poorer communities. This means that tourists find it easier to get around, but it also leads to an improved quality of life for the local people. It also brings about greater work opportunities for the local community. Previously, for example, they may just have had fishing or farming, but tourism opens up the possibility of higher earning jobs.
What about the negative impacts of tourism?
Well, I've seen areas where large numbers of visitors have had a detrimental effect on local habitats. For example, coral reefs in the Caribbean. It's really tragic. The best solution, as far as the wildlife is concerned, would be to ban tourism for a few decades to let the reefs recover. But, of course, the local economy has come to rely on tourism, and there would be an uproar if the government were to take that drastic step.
How has tourism impacted tourist sites in your country?
I think because my country is not a big tourist destination yet, the small number of visitors we get have had only a positive effect. For example, small souvenir shops now have a larger clientele because of the visitors coming to see our temples.